Another challenge that you had was with the whole tariff thing with China. Is that leveled out and gone away, or is that something that you're dealing with as well?
It's gotten better, but primarily because a lot of U.S. suppliers have stepped up and bought huge quantities. Like our main factory in California brought in 800,000 masks, and they're bringing in 100,000 a week now. But it was a gigantic problem because of our trade tariff issues with China to begin with. And what most people didn't realize, excuse me, is almost all the shipping ports that come out, the airplane ports and all that for merchandise to the U.S. comes out of Wuhan, which was the center of the universe for the pandemic. So there weren't any boats getting out, there weren't any planes getting out. And the other thing people weren't realizing is passenger planes that fly back and forth, 70% of the hold is used for cargo. Hmm. And a lot of that cargo, like hand sanitizers and that, it's a dangerous explosive chemical because the amount of alcohol involved, they can only ship a certain amount. Hmm. So all of a sudden you have this demand that is, we'll call it 100 bottles a week, and now it's 100,000 bottles a week. Hmm. It went up that high, and at the same time, the transportation, the duties, everything else, were going the other direction. So we got into this perfect storm of supply and demand and logistics that was just a nightmare. There were a lot of people like me out there that were telling lies and didn't know it. You know, you had the best information you got. You tried to fact check it. You tried to call different sources in China. I was on the phone all the time, emails all the time. And I got stuck initially. I thought something was going to be in about 2 weeks, turned out to be 3 weeks. I didn't think that was so bad because I heard stories of people that had ordered things and either never got them at all, people just ripped them off, or they still haven't gotten them. And it's 2-3 months later.
Imagine buying a $4.50 mask for 20,000 minimum units and be out 100K. Yeah. So from a transparency standpoint, there was some ripples of businesses that, you know, price gouging, when if you really think about it, like if they were paying $4.50 and we're charging $8 or $9 for that, is that really price gouging? And so like my question is, if there is a precedent of fluctuation of prices, let's just think of your typical gas, right? So they pay more, you pay more, right? Do you think, how do you as a business owner handle the fluctuation price on something to your customer? Like how are you being transparent with them about that prices? Are you putting a line item in there that says COVID expense? Are you saying like, this is where the new thing is? Are you just charging them more? How do you see that as something that's important? Because I don't think, even like you were just saying, like a lot of people didn't know that these things were going for the price that they were, that even at $1.50, that's still 10 times the amount, right? At $4.50, that's outrageous, but that's what you had to pay for it. So like, how did you go through all that to tell people, hey, like, this is what's going on?
Well, there were a couple of things. The first thing was we made a conscious decision that we were not going to stock product because the inventory levels were way too volatile and there was way too much risk involved for the reward. The other thing was we decided we were only going to deal with factories that had current FDA and CE approvals. CE is a European designation like the FDA has. So you can sell things to Europe, and they're kind of like the European Food and Drug Administration. So we just decided to do that. So everything was going to be drop shipped. And what we did when we told people was, this is the price today. We are literally checking the prices and deliveries twice a day, every day. And if the price goes down or delivery changes, we will let you know before we charge your credit card and place your order. The moment that we know that, we'll place it and lock it in. Even with that, there was some risk. Like I said, we were told, verified, things would ship on a certain day. They were here. They weren't, because sometimes when they said they were here, they were actually on a plane in China, but FedEx wasn't flying the planes. They were delaying pickups. So that was one side. The other side was there were large suppliers here who were taking risks. And for a long time, the U.S. has been involved in a system that's called just-in-time inventory. And this happened a number of years ago because so many companies were not adjusting inventories properly and getting caught with goods that were overpriced. So the supply chain just couldn't change on a dime, just really wasn't able to. And Now I'm afraid the opposite's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that brought in hundreds of thousands of units of, hand sanitizer or masks. We'll just take those two, and they're going to get stuck with them and be selling them below cost because they had to buy them. They had to put a stick in the sand and do it. And a lot of the prices that are lowering now are doing that. I know some people that are taking losses, and other people that just highly inflated their prices, knowing that this would happen at some point or another. So, it's being dealt with by different people in different ways. I've been in business long enough. I used to be in the retail business, and when I got out of that, I said, I'll never work anywhere where I have to put a key in a lock again, because I didn't like being responsible to the public. Things can happen, and you still got to show up. You still got to put that key in the door. Wholesale manufacturing, this business, kind of the same way. You have to stick to your word no matter what, or you're going to lose customers. So you do the best you can do with the knowledge that you've got at a particular time.